It begins in the quietest second, not with the kiss, not even with the touch, but with that breath right before it happens. The air changes, your heart skips, and the whole world seems to pause between what was and what's about to happen next. You can almost hear the silence. You can feel the weight of everything you haven't said. That's the instant when everything shifts, not because of what happens after, but because of what you choose to do in that pause. Most people rush through it. They let instinct take over, lips meet, and the moment passes. Just another kiss, another blur in time. But what if that split second of stillness was where true connection begins? What if you could make it so powerful that it stays in his mind for days? I used to believe chemistry was all that mattered, that sparks and attraction were enough to make a moment unforgettable. But now I know better. When you understand how a man's mind truly works, when you know how desire creates memory, you realize it's not the kiss that hooks him, it's the meaning behind it, and that meaning, you create it. Picture this. He leans in close, your skin tingles, your heart races, and right as his lips meet yours, you don't stay quiet. You whisper something soft, intentional, something that sounds like a secret escaping without thought. Not a planned line or empty compliment, but a few words that pull him deeper into the moment, that make him feel like time stopped because of you. That is emotional magic. You've turned a physical act into something psychological, something that sticks. Because the truth is, attraction fades when things feel replaceable. But when a man feels something new, when he believes you see him, feel him, and affect him in a way no one else ever has, that's when he starts craving you, not just your presence. And this isn't about tricks or manipulation. It's about awareness. It's about knowing the power of your energy and the weight of your words. We forget how much men crave emotional recognition, even if they never admit it. They want to feel that they move you, that they leave a mark no one else can. When you give them that, not through big gestures, but through a whisper like, "You do something to me," you give them the one thing they can't find anywhere else. I remember talking to a friend who said, "I don't understand why he pulled away. Everything felt perfect." I asked, "Did you ever tell him how he made you feel?" She paused. She hadn't. She thought he just knew. But men don't always know. They live in signals, not subtleties. And once you learn to send the right signals, everything changes. I once believed silence was powerful, that being quiet made me mysterious. But I was wrong. Silence doesn't create mystery, it creates confusion. And confusion doesn't make him chase, it makes him unsure. So what if this time you didn't stay silent? What if you used that still moment between breaths to show him how deeply he moves you? I'll show you how. Not with perfect lines, but through emotion. Simple cues that strike the core of how men connect, desire, and remember. Because when you know what to say and when to say it, you don't just spark attraction. You create a bond that lingers long after you leave. Here's what most women don't realize. They think intimacy is about performance, being sexy enough, mysterious enough, flawless enough. But real desire doesn't come from perfection. It comes from impact, from making him feel something that breaks through the surface and stays there. That starts not when you kiss, but when you whisper. The right words, at the right time, in the right tone. Words that tell him, "You're not just another man. You're the one who makes me lose control." Most kisses fade, but the right whisper burns. It rewires his memory. It becomes a loop he can't stop playing. Now imagine this. The next time he kisses you, what if instead of losing yourself in the moment, you became the moment? Because here's the truth. Men aren't addicted to beauty or perfection. They're addicted to impact, to that rush of realizing they can make you feel something no one else can. It's instinctive. Every man, no matter how confident he looks, carries that hidden question, "Do I affect her?" When you let him see that he does, when your breath changes, your body softens, your voice trembles, something inside him wakes up. That's when desire turns into obsession. Men are hunters, but they're not always hunting people. They're hunting reactions. They want that spark that tells them, I matter. If you stay silent, he doesn't know. If you hide your pleasure behind control, he guesses. But guessing isn't connection. Certainty is. So the next time his lips meet yours, don't stay quiet. Whisper something that ties his touch to your emotion, not in a way that flatters, but in a way that exposes you. Because real vulnerability creates addiction. Picture it. His mouth finds yours. The world shrinks to just that point of contact. And between breaths, you murmur, "You drive me crazy when you kiss me like that." Just a few words, but those words change everything. Suddenly, he's not just kissing you, he's affecting you. He feels the power of his touch reflected back through your voice and breath. That's what every man secretly wants, proof that he matters. And when he feels that, he becomes invested. He leans in closer. He wants to make you feel it again because you've made him feel alive. Men spend their lives being told to be composed, in control, untouchable. But when they realize they can make you lose that control, safely, genuinely, they fall. Not for your body, but for what you reflect back, their impact. I once heard a woman say, "I don't want to seem too eager," but real doesn't mean eager. It means honest. Men can sense the difference between performance and truth. When your reaction sounds like a confession instead of a compliment, it lands deeper. Don't tell him he's amazing. Tell him how he makes you feel. Because the woman who says, "You're incredible," can be replaced. The one who says, "You make me lose control," cannot. When you show him your reaction in real time, you're giving his brain a reward. His mind links touching you with making you feel alive. That link becomes addictive. He'll keep wanting that look, that breath, that sound. That's how emotional imprint happens. Not through promises, but through feeling. You've probably felt it too. That one person whose touch made everything stop for a moment. You never forgot them, not because of what they did, but because of what they made you feel about yourself. That's the same emotion you're now giving him. You're not performing. You're allowing him to witness his effect on you. And when he sees that, he feels safe enough to open up, to connect, to be more present. That's true intimacy, not dominance or control, but resonance. And the softer your words, the louder they echo. You don't have to exaggerate. Just whisper truth. You make me forget everything. You make me feel alive. I love how you touch me. Those simple phrases hit harder than anything practiced because they're real. He'll remember the tremor in your voice, the break in your breath, because that's what makes it unforgettable. Once he connects you with that feeling of significance, he won't chase it elsewhere. Others might attract him, but they won't validate him. You will, and that power, that quiet influence, is what keeps him drawn to you again and again. Now, maybe you're wondering, isn't that giving too much? No, it's giving meaning. And meaning doesn't make you weak. It makes you unforgettable. The woman who knows how to express desire without losing self-worth doesn't chase. She attracts. She becomes the experience he compares every touch to. So remember this. That first whisper isn't about seduction. It's about reflection, letting him see that he moves you, that he reaches a place no one else can. When you do that, you give him the one thing every man silently craves, the certainty that he matters. And once he feels that with you, he won't forget you. He won't even try. He'll just keep wondering what it was about you that made silence feel so alive. There's always that single moment in every kiss when the world narrows to two things: his strength and your surrender. Not surrender in the way people misunderstand it, but the kind that feels like trust. The kind that says, "I can let go because I'm safe with you." That's a sacred feeling, and most women never use it. They think strength means never showing softness. But here's the truth. Your vulnerability awakens his masculinity. When you let him feel that his presence grounds you, that his arms make you feel safe, you're not losing power, you're amplifying his. Every man, no matter how modern or proud, carries an instinct to protect, to stand firm for someone. It's not outdated, it's built in. And when you speak to that part of him, you reach somewhere no one else can. Imagine being wrapped in his arms, the air thick between you, his hands steady on your back. Lean close and whisper, "You make me feel safe when I'm with you." Watch what happens. His breath deepens, his body softens and straightens at the same time. In that instant, he's not just kissing you, he's anchoring you. You've awakened purpose inside him, and purpose is the deepest form of attraction. Men don't just want to be wanted, they want to be needed, not in a way that weakens you, but that strengthens both of you. When you make him feel capable, protective, and trusted, you become the woman he can't imagine losing. Because the world tells men to prove themselves constantly, to compete, to win. But in love, they crave peace. And when you whisper, "You make me feel safe," you give him that peace. It's like telling him, "You can rest here." And for a man, that feeling is magnetic. I used to think power meant independence, that needing someone made you weak. The truth is, real connection takes courage, the kind that lets someone truly see you. And when you allow a man in like that, when you show him that he matters beyond how he looks or what he's achieved, you give him something to hold on to, a reason to stay. Because no matter how confident a man may seem, deep down he still asks himself, "Am I enough?" And when you answer that question not with words, but with your breath on his skin, with a soft whisper saying, "You make me feel safe," you quiet every doubt that's ever haunted him. There's something biological in that too. When a man feels trusted, his testosterone rises. His body literally creates more of what drives desire, energy, and emotional connection. You're not just making him feel good, you're triggering real chemistry. That's why the whisper works. It isn't manipulation, it's alignment. You're syncing with his instinct to protect and his longing to feel valued. Once that connection forms, he starts linking you with confidence, purpose, and pride. Other women might make him feel wanted, but you make him feel worthy. And that difference changes everything, because no man ever walks away from the woman who makes him feel like a hero in a world that constantly tells him he's not enough. I remember a man once told me something that never left me. He had success, charm, everything that should have made him happy. Yet he said, "I can get attention whenever I want, but what I can't seem to find is peace." That stayed with me because deep down, that's what men crave most, to be admired without needing to perform. And when you whisper those words, you give him that peace. It's not about submission, it's about recognition. You're telling him, "You don't have to fight here, you already won." And that's what makes the moment unforgettable. Some women worry that giving a man that kind of feeling gives him too much power. But true power in love isn't control, it's balance. You give, he gives. You let him feel strong, and in return he cherishes you, protects you, and invests himself emotionally. It becomes a beautiful loop of mutual reassurance that deepens with time. That's the real secret of emotional intimacy. Not dominance, not dependence, but harmony. The feminine energy softly says, "I feel safe," and the masculine responds, "I'll keep you safe." In that unspoken rhythm, both feel whole. Try this and you'll see. The next time you're close, don't think too much. Don't plan, just breathe him in, and between those breaths, whisper it, not as a line, but as something real. Let it rise naturally from your chest. "You make me feel so safe when I'm with you." Or if the moment feels deeper, say, "When you hold me like this, everything else disappears." Watch how he reacts. He might not say a word, but you'll feel it. The shift in his body, the change in his breath, the way his hands hold you a little tighter, grounding himself in your trust. That's when you know you've reached him. Because men don't respond to words, they respond to meaning. And that whisper carries meaning. It tells him he's your calm in chaos, your protection when you're vulnerable, your strength when you surrender. That mix of power and tenderness is what every man secretly desires. So remember this, in every kiss, there's a chance to anchor his masculinity. Don't just let him hold you. Let him feel that you're holding back the world because of him. Let him feel strong, capable, and irreplaceable. Because once he ties his sense of strength to your feeling of safety, once he sees himself as your protector, both physically and emotionally, he'll guard you even from the thought of losing you. And that's the kind of bond no casual connection can compete with. There's something magnetic about feeling chosen. Every man, even those who seem detached, wants to believe that what he gives you can't be replicated, that the way he kisses you, touches you, holds you, is something only he can do. True exclusivity isn't about possession or control, it's about meaning. It's about planting the idea that what happens between you two is unique. That's where the next whisper comes in. It plants that quiet thought in his mind, that what you share with him can't exist anywhere else. Imagine this, you're kissing him, everything electric, his hands tracing your skin, your breaths tangled together. Then, in that soft moment between breaths, you lean in close and whisper, "No one else could ever kiss me the way you do." His mind goes still, not from confusion, but from the impact of what you just said. In that instant, you've told him he's different, that he's not just another man in your life. That one line doesn't just flatter him, it captures his attention completely. Because deep down, men crave to be irreplaceable. They fear being compared, being forgettable, being another passing memory. When you tell him that his kiss, his touch, his presence is one of a kind, you're giving him the cure to that fear. You're turning attraction into attachment. The psychology behind it is simple. Humans desire what feels rare. We treasure what feels exclusive. When you whisper that only he can make you feel this way, you activate that sense of rarity in the most intimate way. It's not just about the kiss anymore. It's about his unique effect on you. Suddenly, he's not just pleasing you. He's defining a piece of your emotional world. You become his mirror, reflecting back a version of himself he can't see anywhere else. The man who makes you melt, the man who makes you forget the world. That reflection is addictive. When a man starts to see himself through your reaction, strong, desired, powerful, he bonds with you through that image. You make him feel special, not because you said it directly, but because you showed it through every touch, every look, every sigh. Many women think exclusivity happens after months of connection, but real exclusivity begins the moment you make him feel exclusive. When he starts believing that what you two have can't be repeated, his loyalty starts forming naturally. He won't even want to look elsewhere. Not because he can't, but because everything else would feel lesser. The secret is to keep it subtle. Never say it like a statement. Say it like a secret that slipped out, something that escaped you in the heat of the moment. That's what makes it powerful. If it sounds rehearsed, it fades. But if it sounds like truth you didn't mean to reveal, it stays in his memory. Think about it. When you whisper, "No one else makes me feel this way," you're not describing him, you're describing the emotional world he creates for you. And that's what every man wants, to be the reason you feel something extraordinary. Others can praise him, but only you can give his actions meaning. That's the essence of true exclusivity, emotional connection, not control. The man who feels emotionally irreplaceable will never need to be physically restrained. He won't stray because his pride, his sense of self, is already intertwined with you. You've made him feel seen in a way that no one else can. And remember, exclusivity doesn't mean dependency. You're not saying you need him. You're saying he affects you in a way no one else can. That's not weakness. That's strength wrapped in intimacy. It's letting him feel like the one man who can reach a part of you others can't. And once he believes that, he'll do everything to keep it that way. I've seen women transform their relationships with this. They stopped trying to prove they were enough and instead made him feel that he was. That's the beautiful paradox of attraction. When you make a man feel like he's the only one who can make you feel that way, he spends his energy proving you right. You're not chasing his approval, you're giving it. You become the emotional high he keeps returning to. And the beauty of that whisper is that it works on both the emotional and subconscious levels. On the surface, it feels romantic. Beneath that, it rewires how he associates you with connection, exclusivity, and desire. You become not just his want but his identity, not in possession but in meaning. So next time his lips meet yours, don't let the silence swallow the moment. Let your breath brush against his ear and whisper, "No one else could ever make me feel this way." Then let it linger, hovering between truth and temptation. Watch how his eyes shift, how his hold tightens, how his kiss deepens as if he's trying to prove it. In that moment, he's not just kissing you, he's holding on to the version of himself that only exists when he's with you. And that kind of connection becomes a quiet addiction he'll never walk away from. There's a secret rhythm between attraction and attachment, and the difference between the two often comes down to one word: future. Desire is about now, but love is about what could be. Men fall in love not with who you are in one moment, but with the feeling that moment could last forever. The final whisper dances with that rhythm. It hints at a future without asking for one. It doesn't demand, it invites him to imagine. And imagination mixed with emotion becomes memory, and memory becomes attachment. Picture this. You're in his arms, your lips moving slowly, the air between you heavy and alive. You pull back just slightly, eyes locked on his, and whisper, "I could kiss you like this forever." Do you feel how soft that sounds? It's not a promise or a request, it's a vision, and that's what makes it powerful. In that instant, his mind begins to wander. He imagines that kiss lasting, repeating, continuing beyond this moment. You've planted a seed that says, "This doesn't have to end." And suddenly, he's not just thinking about the now, he's imagining wanting you later too. That's how the mind builds attachment. You've connected the present to the future through pleasure. You're not asking him to stay, you're letting him imagine why he'd want to. And that difference makes all the difference. I used to think men feared the future because of commitment, but really, they only run from futures that feel heavy, the ones that feel light, passionate, and alive. They chase. That's what this whisper creates. It turns forever into something sensual instead of serious. Think about it. When you say, "I could kiss you like this forever," you're not defining the relationship, you're defining the feeling. You're telling him this moment feels endless, and that's what men crave. To feel that what they share with you exists outside of time. Once they feel that, they begin to associate you with peace, passion, and possibility, the three sensations that make love addictive. The more he feels that, the more his mind starts to fill in the blanks. Your laughter in the morning, your hand in his, your voice in the quiet. That's how emotional attachment begins, not through talk but through imagination. And the beauty of it is that it has to feel unplanned, like a confession that slipped out because the moment was too powerful to contain. That tone, that vulnerability, makes it unforgettable. You can say it in many ways. "I never want this night to end. I could get addicted to this. Imagine us still kissing like this years from now." Each version does the same thing. It makes him see himself as the one who keeps making you feel that way. It turns a fleeting moment into something his mind replays over and over, because once he imagines a future with you, even for a second, he can't unsee it. You're no longer just a person, you're a vision. You're the woman who made forever sound like a feeling. And that's the kind of connection that lingers long after the night ends. So the next time you get lost in that slow, breathless rhythm, don't just let the kiss do all the talking. Let your words stretch the moment beyond the now. Let him taste the idea of forever on your lips. Because the truth is, every deep love starts with someone brave enough to imagine it. And in that instant, with just a word, you've made him imagine it too. Every kiss can feel the same until you make it personal, until you turn something universal into something that belongs only to the two of you. That's the secret of personalization. Intimacy doesn't become unforgettable through technique or timing. It becomes unforgettable when it feels like it couldn't have happened with anyone else. And the simplest, most powerful way to make it personal is to use his name. It sounds almost too simple, but think about it. A man's name is the first sound he ever learned to respond to. It's his identity, his anchor, his sense of self. When you whisper it in the middle of passion, it's like striking a tuning fork that vibrates straight into his core. You're not just saying his name, you're reminding him who he is and who he is to you. Picture this, your lips moving against his, breath shallow, the air thick with heat. Then, between those kisses, you let his name slip out, soft, involuntary, almost as if it escaped before you could catch eye. The moment you do, something changes in him. His body tenses, then softens. His breath catches, and he pulls you closer. That one sound, that single word, hits deeper than any compliment ever could. You've just made the moment about him, not about men in general, not about passion as a concept, but about the man who's here with you right now. He's no longer one of many. He's the only one. That's personalization. It transforms intimacy from an act into an imprint. Here's why it works. The human brain lights up differently when it hears its own name. It triggers the same pleasure centers as touch, reward, recognition. When you whisper his name, you activate his emotional brain, not just his body. You create a neurological echo that ties desire to identity. And when desire is tied to who he is, he doesn't forget you. You're no longer just part of a memory. You become part of him. You can go even further. Personalization isn't just about his name. It's about tailoring your words to his essence. Say things only he would understand. Something from your shared story. An inside joke, a moment only the two of you experienced. Maybe it's, do you remember the first time you kissed me? You still make me feel that way. Or maybe, you have no idea what you do to me. The less generic your words, the stronger their effect. Because you're not performing intimacy, you're living it. You're showing him that what's happening is real, specific, and unrepeatable. That's the difference between fleeting chemistry and lasting connection. Chemistry fades. Connection brands itself into memory. That's what you're creating. An emotional signature that belongs only to you. You're building a language only the two of you understand. Every time you use it, you deepen the code between you. He starts to crave that familiarity, that recognition. He starts to crave you. Because with you, he doesn't feel like a man trying to impress. He feels like the man who already has. That shift changes everything. It turns attraction into attachment. Once you've made that imprint, every other woman he meets will feel generic by comparison. They might be beautiful, interesting, even exciting, but they won't know him the way you do. They won't speak his language, touch the memories you've built, or trigger the emotional echoes you've planted. That's the quiet power of personalization. It doesn't demand attention. It lingers in silence. It's what makes him think of you when he hears his name anywhere else, because no one will ever say it like you do. And there's one more layer. When you let his name fall from your lips like a soft sigh, like you couldn't hold it back, you're giving him access to your inner world. You're saying, you move me, you reach me. That's what bonds him. Men aren't drawn to perfection. They're drawn to authenticity. They're drawn to moments where your voice trembles, your breath shakes, your words sound too real to be planned. That's what makes the whisper unforgettable. Remember this, don't just kiss him, personalize it. Call him by name. Tie every touch, every breath, every heartbeat to who he is. Let your whispers mirror his identity, his effect, his meaning. When you do, you'll become more than a memory. You'll become part of his story, the one he tells himself when he wonders if he'll ever feel that way again. And the answer will always be no, because that feeling was never just about the kiss, it was about you. Now you know the truth. What makes a kiss unforgettable isn't luck, beauty, or chemistry. It's the meaning you give it, the story you write between breaths, the whispers you let slip when the world goes quiet. Most people think intimacy is about bodies and touch, but the real connection happens in the space between words. When you whisper the effect he has on you, you give him validation. When you anchor his masculinity, you give him pride. When you create exclusivity, you give him significance. When you plant the future, you give him hope. And when you personalize the moment, you give him identity. Those whispers aren't tricks, they're keys. Each one unlocks a part of him that's been quietly waiting to be seen. Beneath every confident smile, every playful tease, every charming exterior, there's a man who wants to know he matters. He isn't just wanted for a night, but remembered for who he becomes with you. You're not controlling him, you're awakening him. You're helping him see himself in a new way through your eyes, your breath, your words. That kind of intimacy doesn't fade. Physical attraction can be replaced, but emotional imprints remain. When you whisper those words at the right moment, you're not just changing how he feels about you, you're changing how he feels about himself. He starts to see his own power, tenderness, ability to move you. That reflection, that emotional mirror, is addictive. That's why men come back to the woman who makes them feel alive, masculine, seen. They can't find that reflection anywhere else. So the next time his lips meet yours, remember, you have the power to turn a simple kiss into something unforgettable. Don't hold back. Don't hide behind silence. Use your words like an artist uses color, like a musician uses melody. Paint the moment with emotion. Give him the sound of your truth. The most powerful words aren't rehearsed, they're revealed. They slip out when your heart moves faster than your logic, when feelings take the lead. That's what makes them real, and real is what keeps him. You don't need to be perfect or mysterious. You just need to be present. Present enough to feel, to react, to let him in. Men don't remember flawless women. They remember the ones who made them feel something they couldn't explain. The ones who said something small but true that echoed long after. Maybe that's the real secret of love. It's not trying to be unforgettable. It's being honest enough to create something worth remembering. So whisper it when the moment comes. Whisper it softly, like a secret between souls. Whisper it because it's yours, because it's real. Whisper that he makes you feel alive. Whisper that no one else could ever make you feel this way. Whisper his name like a spell only you know. And when you do, you'll feel it. The shift, the stillness, the electricity that tells you something has changed. You've crossed from desire into devotion, from attraction into connection. That's the magic that doesn't fade when the night ends. It stays, it lingers, it grows stronger every time he remembers the sound of your voice. Because in the end, men forget faces, lines, even moments, but they never forget the woman who made them feel seen, desired, and safe all at once. The woman who didn't just kiss them, but spoke to their soul in a whisper. That woman, that voice, can be you. So take a breath, let it sink in, and ask yourself, when the quiet comes, what will you whisper? Whatever it is, make it real. One genuine whisper can do what 1,000 perfect words never could.